Imagine a single, like 8-page document that dictates a multi-million-dollar transit overhaul. And then in the very same breath, legally authorizes the local government to come after you for having too many weeds in your front yard.
Yeah, it really spans the entire spectrum.
Right. And today we have our hands on exactly that. We're, peeling back the curtain on a primary source document that most people would never read voluntarily.
Oh, absolutely not voluntarily.
Exactly. It's the amended City Council regular meeting agenda for the city of Gilroy, California. The date is Monday, August 3, 2026. Mayor Greg Boso is at the helm. And hidden inside this bureaucratic legalese is basically the ultimate instruction manual for how a community actually functions on a daily basis.
It really is. Looking closely at a municipal agenda, it reveals this invisible machinery constantly running in the background of any city.
The gears turning, yeah.
Right. And this specific document from Gilroy, it serves as a perfect microcosm of local democracy. I mean, in just these 8 pages, we can trace the exact pathways of how public funds are secured and spent.
Oh, and how legal liabilities are managed, right? Like from the county level all the way down.
Yes, exactly. And how community values inevitably collide with, hard, rigid zoning limits. We're going to examine the collision between sweeping infrastructure planning and the hyperlocal, micro-level disputes that dictate what a neighborhood actually looks and feels like.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Because understand what the Gilroy City Council is deciding on this particular August evening, we have to look at the mechanics of how they actually make those decisions.
The rules of engagement.
Yeah, the rules of public participation.
Yeah.
The first few pages of this document are dedicated entirely to that, and they paint a fascinating picture of modern civic accessibility. We are looking at a highly integrated hybrid model here.
Which makes sense for 2026, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
A resident can walk into the city council chambers at 7351 Rosanna Street, or log into a Zoom portal, or just, watch the YouTube live stream.
The hybrid approach is standard now, but they take it further.
They really do. The agenda specifically cites the Gilroy Open Government Ordinance, which mandates that all deliberations happen in full view of the public. They outline ADA compliance measures, requiring 72 hours of notice for special assistance.
Which is pretty standard legal coverage.
Right, but here is the impressive part. They feature QR codes printed directly on the physical agenda.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. A resident can scan that code, pull up an advanced translation service, and use their own smartphone and headphones to hear the live meeting in their native language. Or read a real-time translated transcript.
See, that is huge. Bridging the gap between a printed piece of paper and instantaneous digital translation, it fundamentally changes the demographics of who can engage with local government.
It really opens the doors.
It does, because historically, language barriers and physical mobility severely limited civic participation to a very specific, often older and more affluent subset of the population.
The people who had the time and resources to just show up.
Exactly. By integrating live translation and virtual access directly into the foundational document of the meeting, the city essentially lowers the friction of entry. It is a massive leap forward for civic accessibility.
Okay, the accessibility is incredible, but that brings us to the friction point. Because alongside all this technological outreach, the actual rules for speaking at the meeting are, honestly, aggressively rigid.
They usually are, yeah.
But listen to this. The agenda states, in bold font, that public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. And even more extreme, it explicitly dictates, and I'm quoting here, once the third speaker has provided comment on an item, there will be no further speaker cards or virtual raised hands taken for that item.
Wow. A hard cap.
A hard cap, exactly 3 speakers per agenda item. I mean, capping the speakers at 3 people for a town of tens of thousands feels like an artificial bottleneck on democracy, doesn't it?
It definitely sounds restrictive.
Right. If the council is debating a highly contentious topic, say an overhaul to a major intersection that affects hundreds of daily commuters, limiting the live input to just 3 individuals seems like it would completely crush public discourse.
This raises an important question, though, because the central tension of modern local government is balancing that democratic ideal of giving everyone a voice against the sheer logistical reality of executing city business.
So just getting things done.
Exactly. Think about it. If an agenda contains 20 items and 50 passionate residents want to speak for 3 minutes on every single item, the system paralyzes itself.
Oh yeah, that meeting would easily stretch into the following sunrise.
Right. The city would be physically unable to pass a budget, approve vital road repairs, or, authorize emergency services. So the three-speaker limit acts as this blunt, necessary instrument to ensure the legislative machinery keeps moving forward.
I guess that makes sense, practically speaking.
And to release the pressure valve on that restriction, the agenda explicitly notes that unlimited written comments can be emailed by 1:00 p.m. on the day of the meeting.
Ah, okay. So you can still submit your thoughts.
Yes, those written submissions are incorporated into the official public record and posted directly to the city's public records portal for the council to review beforehand.
So the voice of the public is still being captured. It's just being shifted from the physical microphone in the chamber to the digital archive on the city's servers.
Precisely. They are leveraging technology to absorb the sheer volume of public feedback.
While strictly rationing the live performance of that feedback, right? Just to maintain order and momentum during the actual session.
Exactly. The physical chamber becomes the venue for summary and formal action, rather than exhaustive debate.
That's a highly choreographed dance between transparency and efficiency. And that tension between moving fast to get things done and carefully managing the rules of engagement, it doesn't just apply to public comments.
Where else do we see it?
We see that exact same friction when the city tries to regulate public health. The agenda highlights two vastly different approaches to protecting the well-being of Gilroy's residents, utilizing both the softest and the hardest tools at the local government's disposal.
The soft power versus hard zoning.
Exactly. So under the ceremonial items, Mayor Greg Bonzo is issuing a proclamation declaring the week of July 12th through 18th as Screen-Free Awareness Week.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, the text of the proclamation highlights how excessive screen time impacts physical health, sleep quality, and attention spans. It encourages residents and schools to take intentional breaks for offline activities.
Which is a classic example of soft power. A ceremonial proclamation operates entirely on cultural influence.
It's just a polite request, essentially.
Well, it carries absolutely zero force of law.
Right.
The police are not going to issue citations to teenagers scrolling on their phones in downtown Gilroy.
That'd be wild.
The city is simply utilizing its platform to broadcast a specific community value and gently nudge behavior. It is the definition of municipal soft power.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Flip a few pages deeper into the document under public hearings, and you hit the hard power.
What's the item?
Item 10.3. The council is adopting an urgency ordinance to establish a temporary moratorium on the issuance of any new tobacco retailer permits citywide. And this freeze lasts through December 31st, 2026.
An urgency ordinance. That's a big deal.
It is. Usually, a new law takes weeks of multiple readings and public debates to pass. I'm looking at this urgency ordinance as basically a municipal game of freeze tag.
Freeze tag. I like that analogy.
Yeah, it allows the city council to pull the emergency brake and freeze the commercial landscape exactly as it is today. It stops any new smoke shops or vape retailers from slipping through the cracks while the council takes their time to figure out the permanent rules.
That's exactly how it functions. An urgency ordinance bypasses the slower, traditional legislative speed limits, specifically because the council perceives an immediate threat to public health, safety, or welfare.
They need that instant halt.
Right. In this scenario, they are utilizing that exceptional legal tool to buy themselves time.
And the reason they need that extra time becomes completely clear in the very next item on the agenda, unfinished business item 11.1.
What are they debating there?
They're debating tobacco retailer term prohibited areas around youth-oriented facilities. They need a legal moratorium on new smoke shops because they're currently trying to define what a youth-oriented facility actually means in the eyes of the law so they can ban tobacco sales near them.
Oh, that is a legal minefield.
Right. It sounds like a simple, noble goal keeping cigarettes away from kids. But defining those borders seems incredibly difficult. Like if a pediatrician's office or a kid's martial arts studio opens up in a massive commercial strip mall, does that entire shopping center suddenly become a prohibited zone for a convenience store that sells tobacco?
That's the exact issue. Translating the abstract concept of public health into the hyper-literal realm of city zoning is incredibly complex.
Because it's not just a general idea anymore, it's literal coordinates.
Yes. The legal definition the council ultimately adopts will dictate exactly where specific commerce can and cannot exist within Gilroy's borders. It involves measuring distance buffers.
Like how many feet away it has to be.
Exactly. Is the prohibited zone 500 feet or 1,000 feet? And is that distance measured from the front door of the business or from the outer edge of the property line?
Oh, wow, that makes a huge difference.
A massive difference. The answers to those hyper-technical questions directly impact commercial real estate values, the viability of business licenses, and the city's future tax revenue.
So the urgency ordinance is just them pausing the clock.
Right. It provides the city planners the essential breathing room to draw those precarious legal boundaries without a rush of new tobacco retailers trying to get grandfathered in before the new restrictions take effect.
Okay, so the decisions they make about where a tobacco shop can open naturally bleed into how people physically navigate the city to get to those shops, which brings us to the physical infrastructure. Yes, item 9.1 is a masterclass in the complicated financial engineering required to pay for local road work. The city is awarding a professional services agreement to an engineering firm called Kimley-Horn.
And what's the project?
It's to develop the City of Gilroy Comprehensive Roadway Safety Action Plan. The contract amount is very specific, $237,117.25.
Wow, right down to the quarter.
Literally.
Yeah.
But they aren't just writing a check from a giant vault of city cash to cover this. They're adopting a budget amendment to cobble together two entirely different funding sources.
How are they splitting it?
They're pulling almost $190,000, specifically $189,693.80 from federal and state grant funds. It's the SS4A, or Safe Streets and Roads for All grant. And then they're matching it with about $47,000 from their own local gas tax fund balance.
That's a classic municipal funding puzzle.
It reminds me of a household trying to creatively budget for a massive, unavoidable home repair. You find a federal rebate program that covers 80% of a new solar roof, but you still have to scrounge through your own savings account to produce the remaining 20% match.
What's fascinating here is that municipalities are heavily reliant on those larger macro-level government structures to fund their baseline infrastructure.
They can't do it alone.
Not at all. Gilroy's ability to simply map out a plan for safer intersections is directly tied to the administrative skill of their staff in navigating federal grant applications, combined with their fiscal discipline in managing local gas tax reserves.
So what does this all mean for the everyday driver navigating these streets? Well, while the city is reaching up to the federal government for funding, they are simultaneously being squeezed from the county level regarding accountability.
Oh, the grand jury items.
Exactly. Items 8.3 and 8.4 on the consent calendar show the city officially approving its mandatory responses to the 2025-2026 civil grand jury final reports.
For those who don't know, a civil grand jury isn't about criminal trials.
Right. In California, it acts as a watchdog arm of the Superior Court, complete with subpoena power, and it's tasked with investigating how effectively local government agencies are operating.
And what were the reports on this time?
Santa Clara County just completed a sweeping investigation into how municipalities handle claims when a citizen's car is damaged by a pothole. And they did a second investigation into the massive oversight required for bringing the BART transit system down into Silicon Valley.
Both very big, very expensive issues.
Huge. And because Gilroy exists within that county, local officials are legally compelled to respond to the grand jury's findings on the record.
So you see how local leaders are constantly navigating pressure from both ends of the governmental spectrum. They are answering to county-level watchdogs regarding the liability of existing potholes and transit megaprojects, while simultaneously managing the immense hyperlocal pressures of community development.
And that hyperlocal pressure is incredibly evident in a separate directive tucked into the agenda regarding noise ordinances. The council is preparing a zoning code amendment regarding noise, but they aren't just picking an arbitrary volume limit.
What are they doing?
They are directing staff to hire a specialized acoustical engineer. The goal is to analyze the proposed amendment to quantify the actual measurable reduction in noise levels experienced at residential property lines.
That's very precise.
Yeah, and at the same time, they're evaluating if achieving that quiet standard is even feasible without materially hurting commercial, industrial, and mixed-use development.
Wow.
They literally have to pay a scientist to calculate exactly how many decibels it takes to keep a backyard homeowner happy without scaring away a manufacturing plant that the city desperately needs for economic growth.
Because a city council cannot make broad philosophical decisions about peace and quiet. They are forced to make highly technical, deeply analytical choices that require specialized experts just to draft the initial language of the zoning code.
It's crazy how granular it gets.
Yeah. Striking the balance between residential tranquility and industrial viability is the ultimate tightrope walk of urban planning. Make the noise ordinance too strict, and you inadvertently zone out the very businesses that fund the city's general budget.
And keeping that economic engine running is the only way the city can afford to hire acoustical engineers, match federal roadway grants, and manage the liability of pothole claims, which leads perfectly into our next point.
The economics of the city.
Yes. In Gilroy, a massive piece of that economic puzzle is tourism, which brings us to item 8.1. The council is approving a massive 10-year contract running from January 1st, 2028 all the way through December 31st, 2037.
That's a long commitment.
Very long. It's an agreement with the Gilroy Visitors Bureau, doing business as the Gilroy Welcome Center, to manage the Tourism Business Improvement District, commonly referred to as the GTBID.
A business improvement district is a unique economic tool. It's where local business owners within a defined geographic boundary actually elect to pay an additional, self-imposed assessment fee.
Wait, they volunteer to pay more taxes?
Essentially, yes. They pool their own money to fund specific activities that benefit the district as a whole. In this case, dedicated tourism promotion and marketing.
And the agenda breaks down the flow of that money. The city collects all the assessment funds from the businesses, disperses the capital to the Welcome Center to execute the marketing plan, and keeps a 2% administrative fee for processing the paperwork.
2% might sound small, but over a 10-year contract.
Right. Over 10 years, that is a highly reliable revenue stream flowing straight back into the city's coffers just for acting as the financial middleman. It is a massive, decade-long commitment to driving foot traffic and hotel stays.
But local government is all about contrasts.
So true, because this agenda swings wildly from the macro to the micro. One minute they're securing a decade-long tourism deal, and the next minute, in item 10.2, they are holding a public hearing for the report of abatement of weeds and refuse.
Ah, the harsh reality of property maintenance.
The recommended action for the council is to adopt a resolution confirming the imposition of assessment liens against specific parcels of land. And the mechanics of this are fascinating and kind of ruthless.
How so?
If a homeowner lets their property become severely overgrown with weeds or filled with trash and they ignore the warnings to clean it up, the city eventually steps in and pays a crew to clear the hazard. But the city doesn't just eat that cost.
They pass it on to the owner.
They slap a legal assessment lien on the property title. That means the debt is physically attached to the deed of the house. The owner cannot sell or refinance their home until they pay the city back, with interest for pulling their weeds.
It is the strongest financial leverage a municipality has over a private property owner.
It's serious business. And right next to that heavy-handed enforcement is item 10.1, establishing a new policy and fee schedule for the installation and removal of downtown streetlight pole banners.
Street banner.
Yeah. On the surface, figuring out what to charge a local group to hang a decorative flag on a light pole sounds incredibly trivial. But when you look at it in the context of slapping liens on people for weeds and signing a decade-long tourism contract, the underlying strategy starts to reveal itself. So, dropping a lien on a negligent property owner isn't just the city acting like an overbearing homeowners association. It is a necessary enforcement tool designed to protect the baseline property values and the overall economic viability of the entire community.
It's essential maintenance.
It really reframes how you look at the mundane items on a city council meeting. I mean, we started this deep dive talking about a single, dryly formatted 8-page document. Yet, look at the sprawling, complex balancing act we've uncovered.
It's quite a lot for one Monday evening.
The Gilroy City Council is juggling multi-million-dollar transit oversight from the grand jury. They are securing 10-year tourism contracts and creatively piecing together federal SS4A grants with local gas taxes just to figure out how to make an intersection safer.
And they are executing all of that macro-level administration while simultaneously debating the exact legal definition of a youth-oriented facility to pause tobacco sales.
Yeah, drawing those 1,000-foot buffer zones.
Yeah. Right. They are analyzing the precise decibel limits required at property lines, calibrating the fee schedule for decorative street banners, and aggressively pursuing negligent property owners for overgrown weeds.
All in the same meeting.
Furthermore, they are attempting to manage this entire spectrum of business while adhering to incredibly strict state transparency laws, providing instant QR code translations for non-English speakers, and navigating the intense logistical tension of capping public comment at exactly 3 speakers per agenda item.
This single agenda is the ultimate proof that the instruction manual for a city is never static. It is a constantly shifting puzzle.
And for you, the listener, it serves as a stark reminder of where government power actually touches the ground. National news will always command the major headlines, but it is this hyper-local level of bureaucracy that most directly dictates the physical reality of your daily life.
It's the stuff right outside your front door.
Yes. It is the municipal agenda that determines the condition of the potholes you hit on your morning commute, the volume of the industrial noise permitted to drift into your backyard, the visual aesthetic of the downtown sidewalks you walk on, and even the quality of the air you breathe in commercial zones.
It is the literal machinery of everyday life.
Yeah.
But I want to leave you with a final provocative thought, building on what we explored in that very first segment regarding the strict rules for civic participation.
The 3-minute limits.
Yeah. We discussed how the city provides Zoom links and digital archives for unlimited written comments, but physically throttles the live microphone to just 3 people per item to keep the meeting moving.
Right.
Well, as technology continues to evolve at a breakneck pace, consider what happens when an AI algorithm can instantly ingest, summarize, and sentiment score 10,000 written citizen emails in a matter of seconds.
Oh, that's an interesting prospect.
If a city council can receive a perfectly synthesized, unbiased report detailing the exact nuances of 5,000 angry residents' opinions instantly on their tablets, will the physical act of standing at a wooden podium for a highly regulated 3 minutes become obsolete?
It could change the entire format.
In the face of instantaneous algorithmic civic feedback, does the live performative public comment period even survive? Or does it become nothing more than an outdated ceremonial ritual of the past, something to mull over the next time you find yourself scanning a municipal agenda? The document is written in dense bureaucratic code, but the machine it operates is the place you call home.